Hey, welcome back guys. So this is part 4 of the Phantom 3 standard tips and tricks videos. We're going to be addressing the signal range of the Phantom 3 standard and how it's limited compared to a lot of the other DJI models. Now, this is the Blue Proton ARGtek Wi-Fi and signal range extender, and this comes with, I'll just show you what's in the box right here. Okay guys, so in the box you're going to get this big tall 5 GHz 10 dBi antenna. That's your main antenna. You're also going to get 3 of these panels. 2 are for the receiver units for the video feed. These are 7 dBi, and 1 can be used to replace the big tall one. You also get that connection piece, which is going to allow you to connect all these antennas to your remote with little modifications. So what that's going to do is it's supposed to get you out over a mile with a good video feed. Hopefully that's the case. I'm going to show you guys how to install it now. And one thing to mention is that the tall antenna is for all the way around range, and that won't get you the complete distance. It'll still be a lot better than stock. And then if you put 3 flat panels, because this comes with all 3, so you can change out that center one. If you put 3 of those flat panels on, I guess you can just get crazy distance in a straight line. And I'm going to go ahead and test that at the end of this video as well. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Sorry about that guys, I almost forgot to tell you what tools you're going to need. So what you're going to need is, again, I have this little 32-bit screwdriver set. This thing just comes in handy for everything. I went to Walmart and bought myself this little hot glue gun. This was $2, and some of these little glue sticks. So this is going to be used to reseal the little wiring connections after we pull those off to install our new antenna setup. Guys, let's go ahead and get started by moving a lot of this stuff out of the way. The kit actually came with this little screwdriver, so I'm going to use that to undo these screws on the back of the remote. Once you have those screws removed, you're going to pry apart the clamshell, and again, if you remember right, it's a little bit tough to pull down this back side because it goes underneath that little ring. But there we go. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to mark these 3 wires that connect the back to the front. So there's one. I'm going to remove that. Now I'm going to take some of this green tape here and I'm going to mark the second wire. And I'll end up removing that. And the third wire I'm just going to leave alone. Just being the odd man out, that'll be the one that goes to the one with no mark. So once we get them removed, let's move this out of the way and we can take a look at the inside of the remote. So you can see these wires are connected with those little Wi-Fi antennas. You can pry them up with this screwdriver. Be very gentle because these are small connections. You'll get a better look here when I switch angles in a couple seconds. So if you look, it has this glue on here, and that's what we're going to use the hot glue to replace. Up there at the top, those green squares, those are the antennas that these flat panels are going to be replacing. So just remove all these wires. Remember to kind of get a feel for which goes where. If you look at the one on the very bottom here, goes to the very top antenna in the center. So then you can pull this antenna. You get that out. Now here's this little rider piece that all these antennas are going to hook to. Now this was kind of a mistake. I went ahead and put this on. But you do need to thread these wires through. And you can look up in there and see which goes to which. And you can just copy the colors like I do once I have them all connected. Now here's the mistake I made. Do not tighten this all the way on there at this point because you're going to have to go back and put that back on later. I'm going to leave it in the video, but just to show you. So here we go. You can use the screwdriver to connect these. It goes white on the bottom, black in the middle, and then gray on top. Now come in, use your hot glue gun here, and just seal them back off so they don't wobble off and you don't lose signal. So now we have those. And again, remember we marked these. Just reconnect them all with your marks. Now, here's where I ran into trouble. You can't install it because those are too tight. So I'll point it out here. I'm gonna have to re-loosen that and take it off. Once it's off, I put the back on. Remove these covers. Go ahead and put your flat panels on. The better way to do this is like that, spin them on. Then go ahead and put your big antenna on. And there it is. This is what it looks like. If you remember that DJI holder, the tablet holder. And don't forget to put your screws back in the back of the remote. Check that out, man. So there you go. That's the ARGtek on there. Let's get outside and test this thing out. I'm gonna test the first flight is gonna be with this big tall one, and then the second flight is gonna be with this flat panel in place of the big tall one, and it'll be pointing down like this. So you'll just have these 3 flat ones on there. Let's go try it out, guys. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go ahead and launch it. And just so you know, we are using the tall antenna right now, so this is the first test with the tall antenna. One thing to make sure you notice, I'm going to speed this up right now, and I didn't get as good of a range as I wanted to because I think the humidity, it's been almost in the 90% humidity where I'm at in Illinois lately, and that had a big effect. So the first day I ever tried this, not on video, it got all the way out almost to 9,000 feet with the tall antenna. You can see here it starts to try to turn around, and I cancel it and force it to keep going while adjusting the antennas. That's another thing about this ARGtek. It continually needs you to adjust the antennas. You will get more distance, but it takes a lot of adjustments. So here we go, you look at the screen here, and we get out to 6,577 feet, which is a lot. That's a great boost from the original stock antenna, and it's further than the Skyreet antenna booster that was previous in one of my other videos. Look at that beautiful sky up there. So we'll speed it up again to get back here. The thing about those flat panel antennas is they're very directional. If you get them pointing the wrong way, say I turn 90 degrees away from where the drone is flying, you lose your signal, or if you drop it below the tree line, you're going to end up losing your video feed. So you do get more distance, but I guess it's a little bit more finicky than the originals. At long distances anyway. Within a certain range, like you can get out to like 3,000 feet easy all day in a circle. So that's one good thing. So we'll land it here. Now the next flight is going to be with the flat panels, as you can see there. And it was my understanding that the flat panels would give you a lot more distance if you switch out that tall one with the flat panel in the middle. So let's give it a shot here. I'm flying these at about 250 feet. It's hard to find it. I think that's a sweet spot. It might be when the further out you go, the higher up might be better, but I'm not sure. 250 feet is where I test most of these things at. It seems like a normal, reasonable height. Here we go, speeding it up out here again. And this one actually did end up going a little bit further. than the tall antenna, but it was a lot more sensitive to directional changes, even more than that tall one. So that got out to 6,731 feet before needing to turn around, and it didn't turn around in the middle, but I had to hold my arms way up in the air the entire time to get it lined up correctly, which was pretty annoying. We'll go ahead and bring it back here. So it was about somewhere around 200 feet better than the original tall antenna. I don't know, I think setup is pretty good. It's definitely an upgrade. Interestingly enough, I don't know, my friend has a Phantom 4 and we were trying to fly his, and he's not getting this kind of distance right now. I don't know if it's some kind of problem with his Phantom 4 or if it's just the weather around here is so bad. I have a hard time believing that this ARGtek really made it better than Lightbridge technology, but who knows. We're gonna have to do some more testing in the fall when there's no humidity. Okay, those were the flight tests. Let's land this thing and then head back inside. Okay, we're back inside after flying the Phantom 3 Standard with the ARGtek antenna range extender kit installed, both with the 10 dBi tall antenna and also the 6 dBi flat panel antenna in the center position. So what I want to do now is go over a few of the numbers after doing all this testing outside and do a little bit of comparison. So I'm going to compare not only the ARGtek kit to stock, but I also want to take this opportunity to talk again about this little Skyreet antenna range booster that just slides over your stock antenna, and list out the differences between all of them. So with the stock antenna, my best flight that I ever got on video was about 4,520 feet. So that's the baseline. We're going to use that. That's about average of what I can get out to. With this Skyreet antenna range booster, I got out to 4,940 feet, which was about a 900% increase, or I got about 109% of the original length. So that's a pretty good boost. This thing's only $15, so if you just need a little bit more range, this is pretty good. Again, everything you do to increase your range also makes it more directional. So then, if you move up to the ARGtek 10 dBi tall antenna, this one gives you better range in a circle, and it's not as directional as that flat panel if you remember right, but this one gave me 6,577 feet in a straight line that I got on video. So that is about 146% of the original stock flight, so that's really good. So half again pretty much of the original flight. So then if you take this flat panel down here and you install that in the center instead of that tall antenna over there, you're going to get, I got 6,731 feet, or about 149%. So it's just a little bit further, a couple hundred feet further than this tall one over here. But the one thing I didn't like about this is, like, this takes even more adjustment than that. These flat panels make it hard to get your video feed adjusted in, but you can tilt them up and move them around. But it's just when you use the signal flat panel, it's really hard. As soon as you go over any trees or anything, it seems like it loses signal really fast. So and you got to keep it pointed directly at the thing in the sky. This one you can move around at least a little bit. So the last number I want to throw at you guys is the furthest I ever got anything using any system was with this 10 dBi tall antenna. I got this thing out to almost 9,000 feet one day, and that was before the humidity set in. I wasn't recording. It was literally the first time I ever really tested this, and that was amazing. And if you could get that distance all the time, you would get out to, I don't know, that's like over 200% if you get to 9,000 feet. So that would be awesome. Unfortunately, that's a once in a lifetime thing. Maybe not once in a lifetime, but it's pretty rare. So, but what I do like, I prefer to have the ARGtek here with the tall antenna and the 2 flat panels as the base setup. This is the setup I'm going to run from now on, and I really like it. It gives you better range in a circle. Like I said here, it gives you about half again range, so 150% of range in a circle, and I can fly this thing without having to worry about ever losing signal within a reasonable range. As far as distance tests go, the flat panel might be a little bit longer if you had optimum conditions, but practical everyday use, that's better. That thing is also $75, this whole kit. So compared to the Skyreet, which is $15, it's a lot more expensive. So if you want something cheap to get a little bit more distance, about 9%, go with the Skyreet. If you need to move your percentages up about 50% more for everyday use, go with this ARGtek. And I'm going to leave links in the description down there for both of these setups, so you can go to Amazon and buy those if you're interested in them. I do get a little bit of a kickback from Amazon for that, but it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just allows me to fund everything I do here on this channel. This is one of the videos that I put a lot of time and effort into. As you can tell, it's pretty long and in-depth. In order for me to keep making this kind of content, I gotta get in subscribers. So if you're not a subscriber already, please hit that button down there. I would really appreciate it, and that'll allow me to keep bringing you content like this that you enjoy. If you already made it this far down into the video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you again always for the support. And as always, guys, I'll see you around.